I will be asking questions from all of you guys, and then we'll look at the answers together. And also, after the class, I think I need to talk to Alisa. We need to do the sequel. So please don't hang up. Or I will write you from Telegram, maybe. Or I will call you directly to your phone.
You're in trouble.
No, I. Okay, let's. The other online students, guys, two of them, they want to start after a month on the market. So Sanja, actually two of them gonna start after a month, and one of them is in Uzbekistan right now. Whenever he comes back, then we'll start. Okay, the first and most common question is incremental load. They ask it differently. How do you load your data warehouse? Or they may say, do you do full load or incremental load? Or they may directly ask, like, what's the incremental load? Then you need to explain them fully. Okay, can we start one by one answering the question?
Sure.
What's the incremental load?
Incremental load is a method to handle slowly changing dimension. For example, if we have data coming daily from all ATP sources to the data warehouse, we're going to have a lot of change data. And we want to insert or maybe update, delete that data to the warehouse, to OLAP environment. What we're going to do in this case is we're going to use the incremental load technique. The technique is depends on what kind of slowly changing the dimension we're going to be dealing with. There are several types, but the most common ones, the most agreed upon ones are type 0, which means we're going to be just inserting the data into the data warehouse regardless of any other factors. Like, we're not going to care about any updates, any history of the or anything like that. It's going to be a direct insert. There is type 1. In type 1, we're going to insert the new data in the data warehouse coming from the ATP different sources, but we're going to also use update statements. There is type 2, which is a little more complicated than the rest of them. And in this one, we're going to have to keep track of the history of the records in the OLAP environment. When we are dealing with the coming records, when we do an update, we're going to have to keep track of the history. So every record is going to have new records under the same business key, but we're going to keep the old ones as historical data.
With the help of
surrogate keys.
Yeah. And whatever comes to your mind, if you remember any terminology related to the incremental load, like speed it out, add it to your speech to make it sound very professional.
Mm-hmm.
So, and now you have explained the types, how to handle them. Now, what kind of methods are there to do the incremental load? Like approach, you can say, or methods, or ways, you can call them.
Sure.
How many of them, and what are the common ones?
Mm-hmm. There are several approaches to implement incremental loading.
Also, when you talk incremental load, you may say, and it depends on what
business
the table that you're trying to load incrementally. If it's dimension table, then this approach. If it's fact table, then this approach. So first, whatever we learned so far, mostly that applies to the dimensions. But I will also explain you when it comes to fact table.
Mm-hmm.
Fact table, the one way was through lookups, you remember, and to bring only the data which was modified after the last load date. Yes, we recorded in log table or historical table, wherever we keep the
The example we
stats.
did is just the one we did the day before yesterday, right? From the CSV files.
Yeah. Where you remember the example we put question mark when we pull transaction data.
Oh, that's
Mhm.
different.
The first time we
Oh, the
loaded
very
to
first
fact,
time. Yes.
fact table,
Mhm.
we put equal sign to the where modified the equal sign where
Question mark. Yes.
question mark, and we pass that value to that question mark to the parameter,
Mhm.
and the value comes from the log table where we log, like you can say it will log everything about that ETL package. Like when it was run last time, what is the latest date, load date, what is the stats, is it failed, is failed, yes, no. If it failed, what kind of error caused that failure, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna create one table separately for like error handling, we can tell it.
Mm-hmm.
But that will also hold, that might, or you can create separate tables for both error handling and the like last run log table, something like that. And then you get the value from there to put it as a filter to your source code and to bring only the whatever happened after last log. You got it?
Yes.
If it is like through lookup or through merge join or through slowly changing dimension, which we don't recommend, transformation, but if it's change data capture, then you don't have to worry about the filters.
Yeah.
If
The
you
SQL
create
server
the
does everything
change
for
data, yeah, it will do everything. It will get all the changes only. That's it, nothing else. All the whatever change, delete, insert, update, it will give us. We just need to make use of either staging phase or OLEDB command to update, insert, delete, whatever happened in the source accordingly to the source.
Mhm.
Okay, now can you continue with the methods to incrementally load the dimension tables? What approach? Yeah.
Okay. Approaches for incremental load. We generally split them to two categories. There are the traditional ways and there are the new ways. Traditional ways, there is first, I'll start with the least recommended one. It's using the slowly changing dimension transformation wizard. It's not recommended because it uses the OLEDP command and it uses a row by row operation, so it kills the performance. That's why almost nobody uses it. That's the first method, which is the SCD transform. Another method from the traditional methods is using lookups and merge statements. And this method is approved to be one of the most efficient ways. It uses like synchronous transformations, like lookups, so it makes our job way easier and without killing the performance. Should I say the way we do it? Like,
if they ask you, you should explain them. Like
but
first, give the
general.
little introduction to each method,
Mhm.
and then another one from a traditional way is
Using staging.
Using staging, and another one, staging is also you can give little introduction. And another one is through merge join, or another one is something else which may do the join operations from two sources at the same time. And then you will go to the new ways like CDC, change tracking, stuff like that. Or there is like they might be actually we're gonna check it, third party transformations like TF, the most famous one. If you can go to the Google, I mean the YouTube, the most famous one from add-ins is Task Factory, they call it. It gives, it comes with a lot of free tasks, which are very, how do you say, which are very beneficial when it comes to working with uncommon data source like SharePoint or some NoSQL database.
Would be really cool. And we went ahead and developed it. And we've got a lot of really good feedback connections. So we're going to take...
When you...
Screen share.
Yeah, it's sharing.
No.
No, it's not.
take data from AdventureWorks person.contact and and put it into person.contact
No,
one.
I see the
Just
quality. Can you change the quality? Try it. Oh, that's the maximum. Can you open different?
3,000% faster than that.
Can you go to the bottom?
Remember this number.
Yes. Okay, can you just write to the Google? See, SSIS task factory. SSIS task factory. Review you can put. If you open that first one, go to the bottom. Is there any features definition there? Go to the bottom. No, it's just review. Can you go to the top? Right there. No.
Go back.
Can you open this one? The video?
This one?
Yeah.
It's 1 minute.
Developers, just like
That's
carpenters, need the latest
No, start.
tools to make their jobs easier and more productive. But building packages in SSIS can be a strenuous task when you don't have the necessary tools at your disposal.
Can make it
Task
full.
Factory by Pragmatic Work Software is the perfect addition to your SSIS developer toolkit, providing more than 60 high-performance components and
You
tasks.
see how
These
performance-
components and tasks
Observe
allow
source
you to
and
expand on
destination.
what you
You
can
see,
do in
observe that
SSIS
it's for
while
all
eliminating
dimension
the need for
tables.
programming. You'll see increased productivity, connectivity, security, data quality,
Task
and
factory
performance.
components.
Task Factory
Tasks list. Google using. Can you write to the Google? Say task factory task list. Factory task lists. Yeah, can
This one?
open that one. You see, observe destination, secure FTP task, fact table destination, dimension merge, SCD transform. You see, all of them were most popular ones. You see, that's gonna do the job for you, most of your job. Otherwise, your choice might be only C# or VB and really complex programming scripts. See. That's what most of the companies buy usually, and it might come with free tasks. Some of them might come with free. If it's paid, then they usually buy it. I mean, it will make the job way easier. You see, if you go to the YouTube, for example, the one way I said through logging, yes, I mean through lookups, loading the fact table. Second one is, can you write there, load fact table. Yeah, just enter. Can you open the second one? Yeah, open that one.
This video is a demonstration of the fact table destination, part of Task Factory
Can you make it?
Professional Edition. What I've done so far is I've created
You see,
an OLEDV
on the
source
left,
to my
TF,
source
it
system,
starts with
and
TF.
an
It will
ADO.NET
appear on your
connection to my
SSIS
data
toolbox,
warehouse.
all of
I
them,
also have a query
after
I've
you
written up
add
here
them.
that will
The
pull data
add-in?
out of my
Yes.
representation table.
Once you
which is my
download and
source
install
table
it, it will
that I want to load.
appear here
I'm
automatically.
going to load data from this table into my data warehouse.
You remember
in
when
my
we
fact
load fact table, we used like lookup for each dimension table to get their what?
ID.
Surrogate keys. Check ID key, IDs, and
And
then
get
grab
surrogate.
their surrogate key for each dimension table.
Uh-huh.
And we load the fact table. Here, we don't have to use many lookups. Just one task. This task TF fact table destination.
Uh-huh.
It is, I mean, actually it's the destination, it's in data flow. It will handle, you can put all of this lookups job within that one destination, that's it. If you can click play.
Table. And to do that,
For
what you're
example,
seeing is I have two
Club
alternate
AK,
keys.
student
An
AK
alternate key
is
in data
coming
warehouse
from
in turn
participants,
is
yes.
the primary key in your source system.
They are primary keys in
Next,
the
I'll
source
drag
system
over
because they
a
are
fact
AK,
table
I
destination
mean AK.
And this fact table destination is going to require the ADO.NET connection that I've already created. Now, the benefit of the fact table destination is it's going to load this data in a bulk process, doing all the lookups and all the benefit of T-SQL behind the scenes. So it's going to load these records in 10,000 row increments. It can also handle updates, it can handle range lookups, and there's no reason to have lookup transforms anymore, or the derived column transforms. It's going to do all that work for us. So let's go inside the fact table destination. My first step is to point it to my ADO.NET connection and point to my table that I want to load. In my case, it's a factless table that we see right here. That fact table had two lookup transforms,
everything comes
two
here.
assert keys.
As many lookups as you want.
Here. One for my club table, and then one for my student table. In my student table, I'll start by going ahead and checking the assert key that I want to output from this. And I'm going to alias this as student, just so it becomes a little simpler to see. Now watch the left here. When I call it a student and I click somewhere else, we'll see it actually changes the name there as well, and it changes the name from this point forward. So I have the student SK output it. If I try to do a lookup and I can't find that value, what's going to happen is I'm going to map this to my data warehouse now. So in the student table, I'm going to map my data warehouse, which has a student AK, to my incoming data,
which is
here
AK.
from my OLEDB source. So the student AK from there. Now, if I can't find that value after trying that lookup, I'm going to output a default value.
Members.
It might be the word unknown. In my case, it's going to be the value of
right
-1, which is a stub record that I have. For the club, it's going to be exactly identical. I'm going to output this club SK. Again, it's going to be a -1 if I can't find it.
Selecting this
Now,
SK
this is
from each dimension under this bottom condition. Bottom condition says where the dimension tables SK is equal to coming, dimension tables AK is equal to coming AK from the source. So whatever lookup is doing, it's doing with one destination.
Different. This is a type 2 dimension. So in this case, I'm going to output the club SK again. Club AK, excuse me. And I'm going to map that to my value that you saw in my OLEDB source.
Expiration
now,
date is not null or
active
not.
record. So I'm going to change this end date. If the end date is null, that means it's my active record. That's a very common pattern in type 2 dimensions. So when the end date is null, it must mean it's the active record. Okay. So we can also fail the records if I can't find a match.
Grabbing only active records from the
With that now
dimension,
done, notice in the top right
insert
that I'm
that
actually
SK
going
into
to insert records
table.
and update records. Now in my case, I don't really want to have a update pattern here. So I'm going to go ahead and uncheck update. Now if I did have an update pattern, I can just check the key columns that represented a unique value in my data warehouse. Typically, it's going to be the matching of all the surrogate keys. The combination of all your foreign keys in a fact table is typically going to be a unique value. So because I'm only doing inserts and adding new values, I don't need to check this key column right here. So I want to now map my data warehouse now to the incoming data and the matches that I've already done. So in my club SK, that club lookup I've already done, and then the student lookup I've done here.
Since it's fact table, we just insert usually.
All right, with that now done, I'll click OK. Looks like we're doing pretty well there. Now this replaced a pattern that looks like this, typically in SIS. Lookup, and a derived column transform, and finally the destination. So let's go ahead and run this and see how we do. Okay, it's going to run this now. Takes a few seconds. There it goes. And we're now done. What this is doing behind the scenes is it's running a merge syntax to basically do an upsert pattern of the data if I need updating. But it does a big performance gain by doing this. It also handles things like range lookups as well, where I can say, what was the student during this date based on the fact on a transaction I'm receiving, what the student looked at the time. All right, so in this video, we showed you how to use a fact table destination.
Microsoft doesn't do
themselves,
like make their life easier for others. Maybe they just want it to be simple. If somebody wants to learn SSIS and opens the toolbox there under data flow, and he sees like 100 different transformations and source types.
He's gonna close it. Okay, thank you.
Yes, come on. I better die.
So the best way to handle slowly changing dimension is CDC? The best apps.
No, the worst way.
Worst way. So best way merge. Yeah.
The best way is lookup. I mean, the fastest way is through
Lookups.
through the staging phase and with merge,
Merge
statement in the SQL,
Okay.
because you will not have any row by row operation there. Why? If it's lookup, still we have to, if there is any update statement, then we need to use OLEDB command again
Yes.
after filtering out. Yes, that's why the best way, the fastest is SQL merge statement with the help of staging phase or staging table, we can say. But even the fastest way is one of the new approaches is like CDC, change tracking, or this task factory. There was like absurd and dimension transformation there, I think.
So should say we recommend merge statement in SQL.
Don't say merge, just say they perform. One is good at this, second one you need to explain one by one. That's it. The most common ones you say through staging or through lookup. That's it. In traditional way. If it's, I mean, if you have read-write access, I mean, enough privileges to the source database that you can create CDC. I mean, you can run the CDC stored procedures to enable the CDC in the data source. Then CDC is one of the base, like because it
everything
will,
is going to be done in
it will load everything, even the complexity, even the time that it takes through regular ways to the server itself. It loads everything to the server. It will only enjoy the benefits of it. We will only get 3 arrays from CDC splitter. The one is insert, update, delete. So whatever you wanna do with them, you can do. You can use them. Okay, now how we do CDC? How we create the CDC? What we need to
CDC?
do? Yes, I mean, if they tell me about CDC way. Steps in general, you need to tell me.
We create 2 packages, one for the initial load
Yes.
and one for the incremental load.
Even before going to the
In the service.
in the source, what we're gonna do?
Enable
Enable
on
the
the
CDC
database.
on what?
Database.
Database and the table that you wanna keep the track of the change.
Yes.
And
Using
then
store procedure.
once it's done, we go to where? To the sssis package. So we're gonna create 2 packages. One is for initial, second one is for incremental.
Yes.
Okay, how the initial package looks like and how the incremental one looks like. Can you tell me in general? Okay, what we're gonna use there first? CDC task.
Yes.
And then inside that, I mean, we're gonna drag and drop what? We're gonna
use 2 CDC
CDC
tasks,
and between them,
we're going to use a
data flow task. And in first CDC task, what we're gonna say?
We're going to have to
Get
set the initial
Initial,
load.
mark initial
Initial
load. And then mark initial load range. I think that the last one, the
You
bottom
have to
one.
remember this little detail.
If you tell as much
better.
as you can, it's better. Because incremental load is like most common and there is not too many things that you need to remember. And then second one is everything looks little similar. We're gonna still use 2 CDC tasks. One is at the beginning.
One at the end.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
We need to do it actually, CDC.
We did it.
Mm.
We did it
We
once.
did it?
Once.
Yeah. I watched it in the video. CDC.
And
Watching TikTok.
we did it, and I showed the videos where you can watch them too. And the second one, we're gonna
Use
do what?
CDC split.
In data flow task, what we're gonna do? We need to mark it as get processing range. Start the processing and then get process. Can you go to the open SSIS?
It's yeah, get processing range. Second one, mark process range.
Yes. And then inside that data flow task, what we gonna use? What kind of source? CDC source.
CDC source.
And then we're gonna have what transformation? CDC splitter. And then that splitter is gonna give us what? Three arrays.
Three outputs.
Three outputs. Insert, update, delete. Yes.
Yes.
And then inserts, what we do, we just send it to whatever destination is. If it's OLEDB, then send it to the OLEDB. Usually it's OLEDB, data warehouse, dimension table. And then whatever we do with delete, we gonna make use of
OLEDB command.
either we use OLEDB command or send it to staging table. So we can use merge and do that everything all together with the merge function. Or make use of OLEDB command to delete whatever is coming based on coming input from the splitter. Delete.
Yes.
And update, we do this like make use of OLEDB command or send it to staging table or phase. And then here, if you use OLEDB, then just write OLEDB SQL command update table set equals question mark web ID equals to question mark. And ID and that value comes from that splitter.
The output from
Yeah, update. You got it?
Yep.
Okay. When I ask you, you should be able to speak like that
Tell
at
us.
least, please. Okay? Can you do that?
In 2 weeks, probably.
Come on. No. Okay, then this next one is gonna be deployment. Yes, let's talk about deployment. Can you guys tell me what's deployment, how we do it, how we used to do it, now how we do it, where to deploy, what kind of destinations we use for deployment?
Before 2012, we used to deploy. There was only a package deployment model
Okay.
before 2012, meaning from 2008R or 2008R, 2008, 2005. There was only deployment package model, and there were only two destinations where to upload. The first one is to the file system, and the second one is to the SQL Server database MSDB. After that, from 2012, there was the introduction of the SSIS catalogs, and then also the project deployment model. So we can, from 2012 and after, we can deploy our packages or projects to not only the file system and the SQL Server database MSDB, but also to the SSIS catalogs, SSIS DB or SSIS catalog. The techniques, there are several of them. First one is the package installation wizard, and that you could do that through the running the manifesto files in the deployment folder. It's gonna launch the installation wizard. You just follow the steps, and then you end up either in choosing the file system or deploying the package to the SQL Server database, MSDB. The second technique is through the bits or SSDT regular deployment, and probably that's the most common. And it's gonna just deploy it to wherever the location you want out of all of these. There is a third option or technique to deploy packages and projects, and it's through the SSMS import wizard. And I think that would be all.
Yes, and
We can use agents.
you need to
It's
talk,
just
uh,
jobs.
explain them the difference between it's still deployment, the incremental deployment, and
Oh yeah, come. uh, before, as we said, before 2012, there was only one mode of deployment, which is the package deployment model. From 2012 and after, there was the introduction of the project model, deployment model. In this new model of deployment,
from 2016, you can tell.
yeah, I'm gonna be. We in 2012 and after, we could either deploy a package or a project fully. From 2016, the incremental deployment model was introduced, meaning that if we deployed a project and let's say we add a new package to that project, we don't have to rebuild our project and deploy it again. All what we need to do is deploy the package alone. Is that what you?
Yes,
Yeah.
and also they may go deeper with incremental load. They may ask you, how do you do the increment, or what's the difference? I mean, how you just
Previous question. Okay, well, let's go back.
no,
No,
the difference between incremental
Deployment.
project
Deployment.
deployment and just
Uh-huh.
project deployment.
Yeah.
Like, tell me about the real, like more details about these two types of deployment. You just said that from 2016 they introduced incremental project deployment,
Mhm.
and how we do that step by step. You need to, they may ask like, tell me how you what's the difference. I mean, you just right click and do what there. Deploy it and then deploy what? You got to choose the package there. You can choose or how it works.
Oh, I see. I don't know.
I'm gonna say you can Google it.
They may ask you, so
Yeah, okay.
that's another thing that we will take a look at it. Okay. Another question is
I don't see anything. Exclude from project maybe?
that's why I'm telling you. You need to go to the YouTube. Can you go to the YouTube and say increment ssis?
Or I should say I haven't done it yet.
I'm gonna say hire me and I'll show you.
They will say you talk like non-stop. We barely stopped you, and
Now you don't know.
you don't know what's incremental.
No,
how
I'd
to
say
do
my
that.
company is not moving
they
to
don't
2016.
Then how do you know that? It sounds like you're telling me the poem or something from your memory.
Thank you.
Okay, SSIs incremental deployment. Okay, no, increment, not that one. Integrate param. Can you come to the bottom? Types of SSI. No.
It's not Tech Brothers for sure.
Okay, you can go to the
You can Google it.
Google, write SSIs, incremental deployment, we see, versus project deployment. It's the second one. Can you open that one? Incremental package deployment. Okay, problem. New concept of mapping project and their project deployment using this solution. Okay. Okay. Yes. The issue is older version. Okay. To solve this issue, there were three options: use source control and branch project into different brands. Let's go to the bottom. Incremental deployment. Start menu. Can go to the bottom. You see, there is
Oh, this is just the regular
deployment wizard.
Yes.
Yes.
When
Project
you deploy projects.
Yes. Can you to test the functionality? You can deploy any project. Create. Can you go to the bottom? Using
Oh,
You see,
yeah.
using the drop down, you can change the deployment model to package.
Uh-huh.
You see on the top, select deployment model, package,
Mhm.
and then you can choose any package,
package you
from the project. You got it?
Yeah.
Can you open the 2017 deployment wizard?
Isn't it similar though to when you switch to
If we
package deployment model?
Huh?
When you
No. Still, this one is gonna still deploy to the catalog. I see.
Oh yeah,
That's
I see.
the
That's
first
the
one
difference, yeah.
only deploys to MSDB or
Or file
system.
system.
Yeah.
True that.
Double click, yes. Doesn't want to open. Right click and open. Then click that one. Yes, project deployment, package
Package
deployment.
deployment.
If you can choose package one, package folder. Oh,
Do the one from yesterday.
Then it's gonna open all of them.
You saved it, right? Desktop?
do we
Yeah.
have 2012 deployment wizard?
No.
Oh, we don't. We have the DTUtil there, yes.
Did you tell it?
Yes,
That one is only for
the project, 2012,
12.
yes.
Okay. Just choose any.
Do you have package then?
It's not showing anything.
Just choose the folder wherever you have package.
Yeah, it's not showing any packages.
You choose the folder.
just folder, okay.
Let's see, no?
Oh no, that's ssas. It's not showing anything.
Can you go
We
browse?
can do it just from the SSDT. Deploy.
Yes,
It's gonna
right
open this
click
one.
deploy
Right click what?
the SSDT. Cancel this. Cancel. Right click apply. Deploy.
Oh, I should have mentioned in this question the difference also on the configuration.
Can you go to the source there? No, right there on the top. So the link. Change it to the package. Still, you need to give the package folder path. Wherever this
desktop,
package
right?
is,
It's a desktop. You have it.
the
Yeah.
2017 one.
Here, this was here.
Which one? The one from yesterday. Which one?
It was here.
This one?
Yeah, it's right here.
No, where is the package? That's solution. Choose wherever your package is. Isn't it report? Report file. That's if they give you like report and you try to open it with sssis
That would be fun.
project,
Yeah, this one is good.
Preparation.
Okay.
Preparation.
copy
Copy
just the path.
Path. It's okay.
Okay, you can go from there. You see?
Oh, found it.
No? Like, if there is a password, you apply the password.
I don't think it's
Go-
password.
That's I think you can go next. No?
In the
It
select,
says-
Apply.
you need
No.
to select destination. Huh?
No, can you go? It's not loaded, it says. It's not loaded here actually. That is it the package from
Yeah.
this one, CDC?
Not that one.
From
That
this
one I don't know where is. It's like somewhere.
You just go back the search, go to the search.
Which this search?
No, from your computer.
The command.
Open deployment wizard from there and give the correct path there. The first one. And change it to package.
You need for this package? I don't know.
No,
it's-
any the
here.
current one. Can you write your password there to your computer? Let me try apply the password. No, not loaded. Okay, refresh it. Refresh. Yes, first you need to load it, I think. Now next. You see server name. That's it. Okay, this is how you do the incremental load. You need to change it to
deployment.
package deployment. And you will choose the server where your catalog is. And you will override whatever is there, the package, for
Just the
example.
package.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay.
Now we know.
Now
I
you
can
should
tell you.
So in the previous versions, we couldn't load
Okay, let me
only
explain.
packages.
Till 2012, there was only package deployment, utility. They also call it manifest file, through manifest file. When you open it, you could have deployed it through package installation wizard or deployment wizard. When DT utility, deployment wizard. When you double click it, it will ask you to send it into two destinations. One is file system. Second one is SQL server, but it's not a catalog, it's MSDB database. So these two places we use to, that's what I do with my current job. You know? Yeah, I send to MSDB, but we don't schedule it through SQL server. We do schedule it through special data website that the internal developers create. Through .NET, they create scheduler, the website. When we deploy it to the MSDB, it will appear in that website. And then we click, we come here, create a job, like in the web, more user-friendly way. Not through SQL agent. They hide it for security purpose, the SQL agent. So it's really huge. If it's really huge corporation, company, then they don't give you access to the SQL agent. Or now they kind of migrating to a different tool, which is called ssas.
That's the one you showed us.
Yeah, ssas R11. That's where we are migrating to, and that's where we will be scheduling our package. Okay, now and till 2012, it was the story, and starting from 2012, they introduced project deployment, which enabled the developers to deploy whole project, all the package, to one destination only, which is called, we cannot deploy it to file system or MSDB this time. If it's project deployment, we can send it to
SSIS
catalog, ssis catalog or ssis db under the catalog. That's where we send whole project. It will, when you open there, it will be like folder, project's name, and when you open it, you will have packets there. And till 2016, it was like that. If you change, if there is like 70 packets in the project, 70 steps you did with 70 different packages in one project, and you change only one step, one package there, and then if you need to apply those changes to the
package.
Deployed destination, to the catalog wherever it's deployed, then you have to redeploy whole project to that catalog. Now from 2016, they said no, you can, if you want, redeploy whole project, or if you apply just change to one or few packages in whole project and you just want to deploy those, not touching others, then you can do it through this package deployment. You choose it. You open the deployment wizard. It will offer you project deployment. From drop down list, you have package deployment. That's it. That's the story. And you just saw how you can do incremental load. Incremental load. You choose the package deployment from the drop down, and then you choose the package path, and then you will send it to wherever, whichever catalogs, whichever project you want to. And you can choose the override. It will override whatever is there, like the older version. It will replace with the newer version, the older one.
Yes.
Okay, now
Configurations maybe?
configurations. Yes, they may not ask you what is configuration or what types of the configuration are there, but they ask it differently. They say, okay, I developed something in UAT environment, testing environment, or in a dev environment, which is the scenario in most, it's common in most workplaces. They have three at least environments: development, UAT, and production. They say we created the package in development environment. They may ask it this way, and then if I wanted to smoothly move to different environments, what is your suggestion? They may tell me. So the first thing that needs to come to your mind should be the configuration. Or from newer versions, you can use environments,
Which is
which
under
is
the
the
catalog.
almost same, which is gonna do almost same thing as the configurations. But you can change those environments, switch the environments from the where
SSI
SQL Server agent, or catalog.
or the catalog.
Yes, and when you the older way,
We have 5 types of
yes,
configuration.
the older way, you don't say older way, just say like configurations. The configurations can help us. How? It can help us manipulate the values of anything, almost everything within the ssis package without opening the package itself. So, for example, what you may want to manipulate in this very specific question, you can tell that you want to manipulate the connection string or server names value from the like outside environment, like not opening, not changing something. It's scheduled, already running.
Yes.
Everything you checked it. It passed the testing. Now time to move it to the production. You can just, you don't even have to open anything. Like if you want to open it, the steps. Look what you got to do. You got to open the package from the SSDT, and then change the connection strings. What if you fail something there? You make a mistake. We're all humans, and then it's gonna give you headache. Yes. So if you configure it, I mean, okay, even if you don't make a mistake, you open it, you make the change, save it, and then redeploy it to the catalog or the MSDB, wherever the destination is. After you redeploy it, you may have to create, delete the job that was created and recreate the job. So in order to remove these many states, what you can do, you create configurations. There are like 5.
5 of them.
Yes. One is SQL Server, XML, and then if you
Text
can you
file.
right click?
Right here.
Yeah. Also from here, just
Very
right click.
child, environmental variables.
There you go.
Yeah, right click
Registry.
there. If you don't see it here, how we find it? Properties,
ssrs.
right click there. Yeah. From there to, if you don't see there,
That means it's in the,
Right
we are in the
click
project.
yeah, right click there on the window,
Mm.
property. You find configurations from, yeah. This is how you open. Enable it, add one, next. Okay, 5 of them. XML, it is gonna save the configured values into XML file with XML format. Or we can get the values, change the values of the ssis package through environmental variables. How we go there? we go to this computer, right-click, properties, and then advanced settings. There you will find the environmental world.
But nobody does that, right?
Yeah, no people. I mean, most people,
Most common
most
XML.
companies, they don't follow that way. The most common is SQL Server. That's because you don't have to worry about the location. If you have to move it, you don't have to move it. For example, if it's XML, it's a file. You save it somewhere in the network. Yes. Then what if they want to change that network? Then you have to make sure that you move everything like correctly. SQL Server, that's like it will be in the server. SQL Server, wherever the SQL Server is installed, it will be in that computer, and with high probability, it's not gonna change over time. It will be there always. And registry, that's what you usually don't touch. You don't even have. You will not even have an access to that. Yes. Parent package variable, or you can manipulate the package, child package through parent package with one package, and you can apply your if-else logic into that parent package, and you can easily run as per the requirements or business rules. Those are the configurations.
Yes.
And in that question, you just tell them, I do usually SQL Server configuration, and then I will just configure the server or connection string to my SQL Server table. And I can easily update that if it's now running under UAT and everything looks fine. I will just update that server name from the configured SQL Server table to the production server name.
Through a simple
Just
SQL
update statement, and it will start running for the production. I don't have to redeploy, open, update anything, change anything. You will do from the outside. Okay, what else? Logging, yes. Logging, that's, they may ask about error handling, guys. We had separate class, if you remember. Error handling, that's where you usually, that's the one of the main purposes, that you do the logging. If you right click there, the package, inside there. Logging, you see on the top. Here, types, if you open the types, you see we have 5 again. The most common ones, SQL Server again, or XML, or flat file. SQL Server Profiler or Windows Events Log. Usually, as I said, due to restrictions, you don't have access to the Windows events, but if you go to the search, you can look for Windows events from your computer. It is available in all Windows computers. That's where you can log your this execution information. When you log, for example, to choose XML or flat file, add, choose that one. Now you need to go configure. Configure. Choose that. Go to the configure. First choose the package on the left. Yes. Now configure. New connection. You need to create new flat file. Existing? No, we don't have. Create a file. Browse anywhere and give like log file. Yes, okay. Can you? Yeah.
Even the laptop is giving up.
Okay, guys, please.
8 years experience.
You got to know all this stuff.
We have only 4 now.
I'll say that I'm including the years that I waited for not responding, so that's 2+ years.
Yeah, Windows logs or application service log, it will be under application service log. what's going on there.
This is gone.
Okay, it will be under that application and service where if you just need to find the SQL server, that's it from there. It will be logging there. Okay, you can close this one. Let's do the what kind of information we can log. That's what I was trying to show you guys.
It has different
Post
properties.
execution
You can see.
information, on error
Yeah.
information, stuff like that.
Package.
If you go to details window after it starts working, if
This times. So its login is mainly for error handling.
error handling, and it's kind of good practice to log the error information usually. I mean, not just error information, like when it was executed, time, stuff like that, and how was the stats, how was the error stats, for example, you log them into or usually SQL Server table or flat file. So if there was any error issue, you can come and see after opening that log file, you can see exactly what happened, because it may fail that time. If it's weekend, for example, it's gonna fail, but when you come to Monday, it will be working, but you may not know what's causing that failure during the weekend if you don't log it. You got it? So you need to log that into SQL Server or flat files so you can see what happened when it failed. And also that's like standard logging, they say, but custom logging is through what? Event handler. Remember? In event handler, you can use either script task, you can use execute SQL task, send mail task, and include all the information about the failure or the stats of the package. Or you can write everything to one custom made table in SQL Server and insert or update the values. Atabek, you look very tired.
This is okay. No.
He's been
Come
putting
on.
some studying in there.
Not so. Okay.
The task manager itself needs a task manager.
Okay.
Okay, till it starts working. What's role-playing dimension? Come on, guys, they ask a lot.
Really?
Playing.
Yes. Don't open.
Role playing dimension. It's
There are two.
when the same dimension is used with a, let's say, different for
Okay, let me tell you in a simple language. If there is a dimension which can connect to the fact table with two foreign keys at the same time, that is gonna be role playing. So it can play different roles. Like the most common ones,
date one.
dim date. Why? Because dim date can at the same time provide values to delivery, order date,
Shipment,
ship date, and like sales date. Any kind of date can be provided from one dim date dimension. So that's a role-playing dimension. You should remember it, guys. They ask a lot. What's degenerate dimension?
Degenerating dimension, which dimension does have columns, is actually not descriptive columns.
Degenerate.
No?
I'll try.
Did you read it?
No. I'll
Okay,
try to
fine.
remember it.
Yeah.
Degenerate dimension is pretty much the left out attributes. that we keep in the fact table
Mhm.
because they have no other like related attributes that could be combined and be in a dimension table.
Can roll up under one separate dimension. It
Separate
cannot
dimension.
because it's only one value by itself.
An
It's
example,
not measurable,
yes,
but that's why we keep it in
in the fact
fact
table.
table. That's what is degenerate dimension, guys. What's junk dimensions?
Junk.
It's made separately. It doesn't have a relationship with the fact.
Is it the one resulted from rapidly changing dimension?
Yes, but can you explain?
Okay. It's when we have a rapidly changing dimension, we would have too many. How would you say? Too much wasted. You didn't explain this one.
No, I gave you the
The thing.
cheat note.
Yeah.
No, there is no such thing.
Come on.
Oh, there is junk.
There is.
There is. It's in a ssas. AS.
Oh.
Yes.
We didn't get
But it's the end, so I'm still there.
junk
Explain
dimension.
it,
Junk
Yes,
dimension.
junk dimension.
I read it, but I didn't know.
Okay.
This is Dark Forest still.
Okay.
It's like a dimension. It might have unrelated attributes inside it. In order to is the job of the fact table without by removing too much foreign keys that can be placed in the fact table if we put them under separate dimensional tables. Those unrelated dimension attributes. If we put if there is like 100, if
Yes.
you may make a mistake and create 100 different dimensions, but then if you try to connect it to the fact table with 100 different foreign keys, it's gonna complicate the whole OLAP environment process, and it can complicate even the analysis service cubes creation. That's why if the attributes of these dimensions are not too big, you can place those attributes under one common dimension, even if they are not related to each other. Got it? So even usually what we put in under dimension, everything related to that dimensional type. Yes, if it's the product, everything related characteristics, description of that product. Yes, but if it's junk dimension, that's where we may put the information about product attribute of the product or employee too at the same time. In order to simplify the process by eliminating unneeded foreign keys for each of these attributes. Okay, and then inferred dimensions.
Oh wow, loading fact records a dimension.
We cannot have nulls.
When I say inferred dimension, I'm just referring to inferred member.
Member, yes.
That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
If something unknown is coming from the source, but we wanna consider them in our reports too, in our cubes, we wanna include them. So in our data warehouse, we're gonna use default values for them. -1 unknown, something like that. That's what inferred dimension or inferred member. Okay. Confirmed dimension.
Conform. Conform dimension is conform dimensions are dimensions with the same attributes, names, and data types, and they allow multiple use over data warehouses or data modes.
Yes.
I didn't read that. I was looking at.
Confirmed.
Conformed or
Confirmed.
okay.
We have two of them.
That's not dimension by mechanical reasons. Simultaneous. Okay. Tell me about blocking, non-blocking, partial blocking transformation.
Partial blocking, fully blocking, or those asynchronous ones such as like sword transforms. In non-blocking is a synchronous,
Like
Asynchronous.
like
the non-blocking.
Non-blocking is synchronous.
Synchronous.
Like union all,
derived column.
derived column, and
Why?
conditional
Because
split.
you don't have to
Hold the
gather
data.
all the data before you release this information. They will pass through those
The buffer.
transformations as they are coming.
Mhm.
You don't hold them. Yeah.
For those asynchronous ones, usually the new buffer will be created, a new
Yes.
thread. So with that's what like kind of kills performance.
And that's good practice to use as many. To
Synchronous.
remove as many
Many as possible.
partial or blocking transformations as possible,
Mhm.
or asynchronous transformations. We need to get rid of them. How we can do it? We can do it in our SQL source.
I mean, yeah,
Union
sorting
or-
and everything we can
or
do. Yeah.
others.
Mhm.
As much as possible, you can do them in the source, or replace them with something else that can do the same job, but like partial blocking
Without-
or through non-blocking.
Like in the incremental load, when instead of using only DB
Yes,
commands,
command.
we use staging table.
Staging phase, yes.
Staging phase.
Okay. Difference between OLATP and OLAP.
OLAP is
Starts with the
highly
name.
normalized, and OLTP is denormalized.
No.
It can be, yes, it's opposite actually. what
Oh,
you
sorry.
said.
OLATP
And-
is highly normalized, and OLAP
Yes.
is normalized, and OLATP is usually.
Why? You need to first don't memorize. That's why you made the mistake right now.
Mhm.
If you memorize, try to understand it. In OLATP, it's a backend database for any application. It's directly working with the
business or
business application, you can say.
Mhm.
And then that is always normalized. They also call it third normal form
Third normal
form.
database or
Mhm.
tables, they
Mhm.
call them. OLATP is always normalized. OLAP can be either denormalized, but mostly it's denormalized, which is Kimball approach
star
method,
schema.
yes, star schema, or it can also be normalized, but not as normalized as it is in the OLATP database. We can kind of create junction tables between fact and dimension tables,
Mhm.
but it's not kind of popular. The most popular is Kimball star schema, and the easiest and fast to implement. That's what you did for like long time, actually.
It's in the memory. We
Yeah.
did in the memory.
You should understand, and then you don't. Okay, continue. What else?
Can you talk about the source of the data? The
OLATP, yes,
source of
gets
data
the data from
from everyday's operations.
application,
From
Applications.
applications.
system
While
applications,
OLAP gets the data from OLATP,
OLATP and other
environments.
flat files.
The heterogeneous
Yes. And
sources.
OLATP is
Handling.
always current data, yes.
Yes.
OLAP is both
Both
current and
current
historic.
Historical.
Duplicate a lot. That's why a lot of duplicates.
Yes.
Queries in OLATP are usually simple and straightforward,
They run faster.
and run
Groups run
faster.
Yes.
While in OLAP environment, they are usually more complex
Because of
they
joins
handle too much data
and joins.
and
High volume transactions
in OLATP.
why? Because its name says it's
Yes.
online transaction
Transactional
process. Yes.
It's every day.
Low volume transaction.
While
before.
for OLAP system, it's usually one like it's slow transaction, and it's mostly like once a day or so.
Yes.
In
Okay.
in low business hours.
You should explain it, guys. Can you at least explain it this much? I mean, whatever you know, you should not stop. Like
Throw it.
whatever comes to your mind, talk. Just talk. But make sure that you don't make something like this, like right now he said the whole ATP is denormalized. They may easily catch you by that. Just be careful. Try not to memorize. Try to understand, guys. Please, that's important.
BCNF? Do they ask about it?
That they don't usually ask.
It's 25-minute video I
Oh,
watched
shit.
about that stuff.
It's a lot of
I
information.
never heard about
A lot of information
Oh,
inside.
I'll delete it from this.
Right, another one about OLATP and OLAP is the purpose of holding those database. One is for business,
Oh yeah.
day-to-day business functioning. Second one is for
OLAP is
analysis,
for analysis, support
reporting.
decision making,
Yes.
reporting to
Analysis.
managers.
and reporting. And based on that, they can make the decisions. Yes. Okay, reporting you can source from OLATP directly, but reports tend to run on low volumes of data and returns few records. OLAP queries typically run on huge volumes of data. Research requirements, OLAP requires huge space and CPU resource to store volume of data and run complex queries. OLATP requires relatively less system resource. Execution speed, OLATP runs faster, but to execute same MDX query with SQL, like same queries that return same results in both environments, then the
OLAP is
OLATP
faster.
gives slower performance. OLAP gives better performance. Okay, what's fact table? What's dimensional table?
Dimension table contains descriptive attributes. It pretty much answers the questions who, when, what about a specific grain. While a fact table it holds measures and they're mostly calculated.
Okay. What's factless fact?
Factless fact holds occurrences or events that are not really measures. An example of that would be like a communication made by a customer or an appearance of an employee in a specific location. No, events. They're not really measures that you use in your reports.
Okay.
Yasin is ready for market. Go,
No,
go out.
No,
I need this
you
model.
I will tell you if you are not really done, I mean if you have some language skills which you guys all have, and make like 50%, 60% sense, which most of you can make. The only thing that you lacking, for example, you and him too, little bit, is this memory-based part. Is whatever here. Maybe 1 week, it's more than enough. It should be. But you need to focus on that. Don't waste your time, guys. And online, guys, I will check. I checked some of you. I will check some of you today also, and then I can give feedback. Yeah. But I think it's most of you are better than average, guys. So should be good, but little more effort we need from you. Just 1 week or 10 days, we should catch up. And are you guys doing the SQL homework? The homework.
Previous ones.
Please don't just 1 hour every day. 1 hour previous
Just
homework.
to stay.
Yes,
Yeah.
to memorize them. Homeworks, whatever the book I
Yeah.
sent from there. 1 hour minimum. That's more than enough for you. That most of them come from those homeworks. Whatever they ask during the interview, except only one or two. They may keep like complex queries, but not everybody can solve that. So even if you if there is like 10 queries, and if you solve like 8 is gonna be very simple ones, grouping, order, and stuff like that. If you solve that, 8 ones, and you still have a chance if you make good impression through the the interview, then you still have a chance.
How about reporting? What do they usually ask?
Reporting, okay. They may ask like, have you ever created dashboards? Or you need to talk what you create. You need to include everything. Like you have more than 5 or 6 years, at least more than 5-6 years of ssrs development experience. You have created a lot of complex ssrs and Power BI reports, mostly ssrs. And if they may ask, or you can just continue describing what you mean by saying companies, like sourcing from different source at the same time, different types of source at the same time, like Oracle, SQL, SharePoints, and other non-common source like MongoDB, Cassandra, stuff like that. And then you were able to combine the data coming from several sources through some workarounds like parameter weight. You remember we saved the data into parameter and placed in one report, and sometimes you have created really beautiful dashboards with the use of almost all data areas or report tools like tablix, matrix, the gauges, trend lines or indicators, and charts, of course, maps. And in the first page you put them as a roll up, as a general, the summary report, summary data report. And then when you click on them, you also featured or equipped that report with drill through drop down features and also bookmarks you create there, so you can easily jump between the report page or report items. And then once you click, it will take you to more detailed reports, which can be done through linked reports, stuff like that. And you also add there
the parameters,
complex structure of parameters like cascading parameters, and
single value, multiple value, days,
multiple value parameters, or
radio button.
Yes, you can keep going, and also you are really good at the speeding up the report processing time through. You were showing me caching snapshots and improving the source SQL if it's coming from SQL database, SQL queries,
paging,
yes,
pagination.
You can do all this. You can talk about all this non-stop, until they stop you. That's what it is. And then you tell them. They may ask the securities, have you ever been involved with the reporting security? You need to tell them yes. From the report manager side, when you click on there are two security places or levels, you can see, that you can define, set up the security.
The table level.
If you go
the report level. Or where?
The report manager, any report manager, wherever you deployed your reports, the page.
Yeah. What's the worst?
Open it into next one. There are package settings and page settings. If you click on package settings, it will take you where you can define the security levels that the users can have, like what? Browser, content editor, manager, report manager, and what else? Publisher, stuff like that. Or if you go to the page properties, like let me show you, and then you can define the other server level privileges, you can say, and their system user, and there is like two more other user types. Run it as admin when you open it.
Yeah, this one is
Can you, it should open. Wait. Is it run? Working?
Yeah.
Let's wait.
You deleted everything in your laptop, right?
Did you delete 2012? Then you must have 2017. Did you
No.
install?
2012 I have it.
Yeah, okay. Connect to
Let me
the.
see if it's working.
Yes. Let's open 2-3 times.
So in the configuration manager, we create the virtual links, right?
Or if you, let me show you. You can change those things from reporting service server. If you open your Management Studio 2012, right click, run as admin, the Management Studio. Open the yes.
It'll explode to say too many apps at the same time. This Excel is already too much for me.
No, wait. Can you minimize this one? Now you see integration service. Choose reporting services. Choose your server name. Dot. Name. If you didn't change anything, it should enter. Or give the name of that server. Can you give the name of that server? Go to the configuration manager, the bottom one. You see report server configuration manager on the bottom. No, I mean the SQL Server Configuration Manager 2012. Do you have it? No, I think you deleted some stuff. Okay, can you try that 2017, the first one? Can you?
They're all running.
All running, but do we have that reporting server? Can you click on this? Yeah, that one. Click on it.
Not installed.
Host name. That's the host name. Can you copy that?
KVFD 3E96. KVFD 3E96.
It's run away. I want them to erase this. This is mine. Oh no. Don't touch things.
It's connecting.
Inshallah.
Here, I will show you mine. if you go to, can you give me that HTML?
Okay, to play.
We'll have 3 teams.
I'm gonna run away.
Okay, this is the report server. This is how it looks like. I need
We're gonna see you guys.
let me go to.
What were you looking for, Velvet?
Let me see first.
Where's the Notabek?
No, internet is not.
There's no.
No, it's not working. Okay,
Later again.
I will show the online guys. I will show you the later. If you connect to your, do whatever Atabek just did, guys. Online students, you're gonna have, look here, jobs, yes, and then security. You see roles, system roles.
Oh.
These roles are whatever we learned first.
Yes.
See, we have browser, content manager, report, my reports, publisher, report builder. This one gives access to the report builder. It will open it. You know what's the report builder?
Yes.
If you don't have this access, then if it's not ticked to your Active Directory account, it doesn't show you, it doesn't let you. You cannot even see the report builder button there.
In the report manager.
Report manager tab, you don't see that. If you, unless you get this level of access role. And then publisher, it will only allow you to publish the report. This my reports, I have no idea honestly. Content manager, that's kind of administrator that you will have access.
All types of access.
All types of access except report builder. So it comes separately. Report builder. Browser is on. You can only open and see the reports. That's it. You can upload, delete, replace, or change something in the report. These system roles, these are ssrs role. You see, ssrs role. System administrator, system user. So unless you are under this administrator, it doesn't let you create these roles to give somebody these roles.
Okay.
You cannot change anything or set up the source of the reports. You cannot do that without this system admins.
So this is the tab
Or
for
system
security
users
or-
also can give that roles, but system admin is the highest role that you can have to do everything literally in the report manager and report server. Okay, those are the two things. Let me see. Actually, I should run it as
Where is that? California.
that one I don't.
Di sini mah.
Colombia.
No, you should say Uzbekistan. They have the ocean.
Yes. There are two double landlocked countries in the world. One is Uzbekistan. That means
Second one is in Africa.
I don't know, but the one of them is Uzbekistan. I know for sure.
Double what?
Double landlocked. You
Landlocked.
have to pass two countries, at
In-
least two countries, in order to reach the
Ocean.
access to the ocean.
Mm.
Okay, here you see. I mean, if I go to the home page, you see this one doesn't appear if you don't have that system roles administrators role. When you open that one, you see we go to. You see, admin. You can add somebody. Wait, no, they can see. Did you? How they can see?
No.
They cannot see.
They cannot.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
it's okay.
It's
Well,
all
connected, yeah.
You see, SSRD role, this is system admin role, and system user role. You can assign somebody only if you have this system administrator. See report view, other clients that execute report definitions.
Mhm.
Or the one we did was what? This one, report settings. Okay, if you don't enter to this website without admin rights, like administrator role, it doesn't show this one. This only shows this one. And then if you come here, you see what roles you can assign. Package level, package folder, I mean the settings and site settings. So for folder settings, you have publisher and browser, content manager, and then what else? Report builder roles.
Yes.
For system level, we have SSRD, SSRS,
Three, right?
art, and then system user and system administrators. Okay, now let's continue with Saturday. I hope yours is working.
Mm.
Okay, now what else? Let me see. I didn't ask anything. Okay, you made mention about ad hoc reports. That means it's not like it's not. It doesn't run like based on time. Like it's not hourly or monthly or daily report. It is report based on the demand. Like
And
they may come
on the go.
on the
Yes.
go. They may tell, get me something like this, and you need to create it. Or you may create ad hoc reports for later use. Also, they may come after 3 months or 4 months or after 1 year and say, I want to get it again, something like that. So you can create them as ssrs and put it in your report server. So they can view it through report manager. Okay, now ssis.
Let's go back.
We stopped at logging, yes? Okay, difference between multicast and conditional split.
Multicast gives us duplicates of the incoming source, let's say, and conditional split is we're gonna pass the condition, and if it meets the condition, then it's gonna give the output. And also multicast can have a different destination. You can pass the different destination, and conditional split you can direct to only one destination.
Yes. Actually, no, not conditional split. Also, you can. I
To
mean,
the multiple.
multiple places.
Oh,
you can-
if you
yes,
oh, yes.
The ones that
So,
meet one condition,
Conditional
go to this
split
side.
directs row
Just
to
mention
single
about the
output.
condition for conditional split. That's it. You can split incoming data based on any condition, any logic that you have with conditional split. While multicast doesn't do any condition applying. It will only
duplicate.
do not.
Uh,
We say it
redirect.
like multiply the incoming
Replicate.
input into multiple outputs. Like multiplies the input into
So this is
several
wrong here?
outputs. Huh?
This is wrong.
I don't. And this conditional split
No, it's
directs
not.
a row to a single
correct.
output.
Every row
Whoa,
goes to only
yes.
one single output. Either this
Oh, okay.
one or
Yes.
this
We
one
are-
or this one.
We understood it's like just single. You can put it single
no,
distance.
no.
Okay.
We can also mention maybe multicast could work as a dead end for like testing purposes.
For multicast, you
Data viewer.
for example,
You know what they use it like they put it at the end instead of a destination, and then you could see the data coming through.
Yeah.
yeah, for debugging purpose, you
Process
can
you can
say
use.
or see the values during the
Yeah.
runtime with the. You need to tell it about. You need to tell that thing if they ask you what's data viewer.
Data viewer.
Yeah. Just keep it for data viewer.
We
Because
want
it's
to be fancy.
Yeah, it's not just multicast because can do that.
Yes.
Can do it, yes.
There are other transformations. which
Yeah,
can
like
do
but conditional split
you
cannot
cannot
do
do
it.
it.
So.
You need to set up the values. Unless you open it, you cannot. It can do. It can let you view the data till that value, but you need to set up the conditional split.
Yes.
You don't have to set up multicast.
Multicast, yeah.
Okay, and what's the difference between merge and merge join? Guys, I told you not just read it from here. It's gonna be very difficult. You see, now he said to redirect to one output. So you may get it wrong from here first. Secondly, it's very difficult to memorize them unless you understand. You have a good idea what they are. If you see what they do, if you go to the YouTube, put merge SSIs and put merge join SSIs. That's it, one video from it. And we will have a good idea about that. Okay, merge and merge join. What's the difference?
Merge works like a union all. No, it doesn't actually join the columns, but it actually joins the rows or combines the rows. And the two sets of inputs need to be sorted, and they have to have the same structure, the same number of columns, let's say. For the merge join, it works just like as a regular SQL join, and you could use left or outer or whatever condition type of join with that, and it also needs to have a sort of data in it. Another difference is merge is a fully blocking which one is fully blocking asynchronous transformation, while merge join is only semi partially blocking.
Okay. About transactions.
Transactions make the package work as a whole unit. If
If it fails, it will roll back the
back.
whole.
if one
That's
task
the main
fails,
purpose.
the whole package is whatever happened, whatever was executed before that failure is going to be rolled back, and for that you need to set up some properties in a way that lets you handle it. You need to set up the transaction at the package level to required, and then the task should be set up to support it.
Okay, event handler. What's event handler?
Event handler.
They may ask you what kind of events do you use. I mean, event variables there or events. What kind of events are available actually, and what kinds you use?
We could say at the execution of a package, events of different types raised. An event handler lets you set up the package in a way that it responds to those events. There are two let's say labels.
Can you open? I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Can you open ssis?
This one?
Yeah, open the most recent project that you create. CDC. It's I think that one.
There's nothing here.
Ah, okay. I mean,
Okay.
we don't need anything. Just package. And if you go to event handler, you see event handlers, their own error,
Yes.
on exec stats change, on information, on post execute. You need to mention few of
Few
them.
of them.
Yes, on warning and on error is kind of easy to remember.
Yeah.
On progress, on pre execute, on post execute is kind of
pre-validate,
very
post-validate.
famous one.
And then it's also you can also mention the level you want it.
Yes,
That's-
it can be
It
packaged.
can be either the package or the executables, and in the executables it could be the container or the task level.
Yes. Remember, guys, Atabey,
Yeah, you can use email. You can email.
it will execute whatever you put here, whatever task you put here. When this event, whatever event you select from this event list happens.
Yes.
Whenever this, if error happens, it will execute it. Unless if error happens, if you select on error one and place execute SQL task or script task or send mail task here, it doesn't execute unless there is an error event in the package. Okay. And slowly changing dimension.
Then we go through that.
We need it. Yes, I mean, guys, come on.
Yeah, let's try to
Tell
find
me.
somebody else.
Come on, I mean,
What is
I'm
the
hungry. I cannot talk.
you cannot make an excuse for your interview.
I know. I used it because for incremental loading.
Yeah, I mean, how many types we have?
Yeah.
What
there are
are
three
they?
types of
Yes.
slowly changing dimension.
Okay.
Type 0, which is fixed attributes. Type 1 for changing attributes, and type 2 for a historical data. For when we create a slowly changing dimension, when we drag this task, the wizard opens up, and first thing you choose is what do you want your fixed attributes to be, and also you can check put a check on where if somebody tries to change that fixed attribute, the whole package fails. For historical data, you can set the start and end date, and when usually end date is null, that means that's the current data, and you can use the system variable system.start time, which is already in ssis. You can use that one, and that will show you what data is current and what data is expired. And for fixed attributes, that will usually be some employee IDs. For type 1, for changing attributes, that can be a department that employee used to work at. And for historical data, that can be a last name. If employee got married and changed the last name, we still might want to keep their old last name.
Good. Okay. What's checkpoints? What's breakpoints?
Checkpoint is a great tool for also performance tuning in SSIS because it helps with the resetability. Checkpoint is mainly used if package fails at certain level. We can put a checkpoint till the moment where the package was executed successfully, fix the error, and make the package run from the failure point, not from the very beginning, which, as I mentioned, increase performance. And for the checkpoint, we need to enable them. We need to set the name of the checkpoint for the file name, and it will create an XML file. We need to set the values for it, if exists, none, or always. And we need to see if we want to save the checkpoint. Once the package succeeds in execution, this XML file will be automatically deleted. And also, we need to set the checkpoint on the task level for the executable failure, something like that. There's some condition where we set it also to true, so that checkpoint works on this current task. What was this?
How about breakpoint?
Breakpoint, that's a great debugging tool. We set also breakpoints in order to be able to see and stop the package during the runtime, to maybe manipulate variables and see different outcomes. We also said we edit breakpoints, and we also set them on pre-execution, post-execution, on errors, on failure, so we can really play with it. Just want to see like when we
But we cannot
check.
put the breakpoint on the data flow task.
Yeah. Where was this?
Which one? Checkpoint you're looking for?
I'm trying to see where we set the true.
No. Right click the control anywhere.
Just
Property to
Top.
the top.
First three.
Yeah.
yeah, this one, yeah, and then
No,
on the
there is
task
one, yes.
level,
Yeah.
Fail property. Fail if
fail
package.
proper. Yeah. Oh, this one.
This
Yeah,
one,
we
this
set
one.
it to true. Fail package. Fail.
Okay, that's good. And another thing that I want you to be familiar is, if you go to the YouTube, it's gonna be like homework for you guys. We will watch just one of them. You can see SSIS. SSIS MongoDB source to SQL Server.
Isn't MongoDB like mostly
It's no
documents?
It's no SQL database.
Yeah, they
but
document everything.
it's document based, but
Mhm.
it uses JSON as
JSON.
a storing language. If you open the first one, you see, when you talk, you need to, like, if you stop it there, when you give an introduction to your SSIS background during the interview, you should say like, I have been exposed to literally any kind of database which is available, almost every kind, like NoSQL database, like you say regular SQL database, Oracle PLS, Oracle 11G, SQL Server, different versions, Oracle different versions, 10G, 11G, 12G, something. And the SAP DB2
PostGIS.
or other SQL database, and also regular flat files, comma separated flat files, text flat files, or Excel files, and also two non-traditional source types like NoSQL database, MongoDB, Cassandra, and like teamwork websites, team collaboration sites like SharePoint, you can say, or CRM applications, ERP applications, or any kind of, not any, most common clouding database, like cloud database, Azure SQL database, Azure Data
Amazon.
Warehouse, Amazon Web Services, stuff like that. You just count there, whatever you know. Here, your homework is whichever source I just mentioned. If you don't know how to use SSIS, pull data or push data into those types of connections, then you need to watch them. This one is connecting SSIS to MongoDB.
Evaluation version.
First, you need to, you see, driver. You need to
And I
download
choose
MongoDB
my
driver.
Windows ODBC driver, and for
ODBC
desktop,
driver, it's gonna be.
I'll add to cart.
You can fast forward a little bit. It will download it, buys, and then you set up. You
Next.
just click whatever you download.
Accept.
Next.
New package.
And then once you download it, you can open your SSDT.
All right.
When you
to
install
connect
it,
to
actually,
MongoDB,
after
we need
downloading.
to make use of
And then
ODBC
if you-
drivers. Before that, let me create a connection to
Connection,
MongoDB.
you're gonna create
So
connection. ODBC connection.
ODBC.
You see, you choose. Add.
So I will create a new Simba ODBC
new one.
driver, which does not exist here. So I choose
You see, it appears.
Simba MongoDB
You
driver.
see, Simba MongoDB
Test it.
driver. You just taste it.
Then pretty
Successful.
much
Yes.
Okay.
And then
I'll create a
the
data
connection is ready. Yes.
flow task
You open data
Inside
flow
that.
task. You drag and drop what source?
We
ODBC
will see data
source.
which we can send to MongoDB.
Or
Instead of any data,
destination if you
let's
wanna
pick
push into
ICD-9
the
and ICD-10
MongoDB.
codes of healthcare data. We'll talk about these ICD-9 and 10 codes in a future video in detail, and we'll also do some store it in, right?
This
Right,
is a
click
flat
save
file, for
as,
example.
go to data,
CSV file.
and let's create
You need to
a
run
sample record so that it creates the
MongoDB.
table
Can
structure
you
too along with
fast
that.
forward with
I
array,
already
not
copied
with
this.
Here, you see, go back a little bit. You see,
Let's,
Excel source he set up,
connect to
ODBC
ODBC.
destination he created.
And we need to choose the
Feature-
ICD-9 and 10.
Whatever
test and test
document,
weights. Maybe it's connected to
Whatever
some other
table
database.
in MongoDB.
I need to fix this flag
SQL
in
language, you can see.
ODBC driver.
It wants to load that,
So
it
let's
will.
go back.
Choose
configure.
that one. And then do the
Okay, I've
mapping.
connected it to test database. Instead of that, let's connect it to all good. So, okay. And here we come back
Open it again.
one more time and pull it up. We see ICD-9 and 10. We see some weird characters here, but maybe I can just get rid of this prefix. So I need ICD-9 here. Then go to mapping.
You see, just
Everything looks
do regular
good.
way the
If
mapping.
it was same name,
The
SSIS
code is
maps them
auto-generated,
automatically.
I think, for JSON.
Alright, so this one looks good.
That's it. If you
Save
run
it.
it,
Okay, looks like 14
he ran
times
it,
verified up.
14,000
We
values.
see
Now,
all the
if you
codes,
go back
description.
little bit, he will, you see, go back little bit.
Records are
Yeah.
written
Now
onto
he writes
MongoDB. So let's
MongoDB
verify that.
query there. Pretty. You see, fine, pretty.
Video,
He
yeah.
said. And it
Yeah,
will
we
get
see
all
the
this
codes,
data
description.
that was loaded from that
Excellent.
Excel
We're
file.
done with
That's
ICD-9. Let's
Got it?
Easy.
No,
Native function.
that's easy, but you just need to be familiar with SSIS. If you just can easily do the loading from flat file, text file into SQL Server, that means if that makes sense, you can easily adjust to any type of source and any type of destination. That's it. Okay, I think that's enough for today. Please be ready for this weekend. You can stop the recording.